Episode 28, The Price of Wisdom. Dex woke to the soft chime of his quarter's communication system, the sound pulling him from dreams of ancient ruins and choices not yet made. For a moment, he lay still, watching probability streams collapse and reform across 17 dimensions, the familiar weight of his transformation settling over him like a second skin. 46 hours left to decide. Elara stirred beside him, her presence a warm anchor in the quantum foam. Through the dimensional layers, he could see her consciousness, bright and steady, unmarred by the fractal complexity that now defined his own existence. She was still entirely human, still grounded in 3 dimensions and linear time, and he envied her that simplicity even as he treasured the difference between them. "Morning," she murmured, her eyes still closed. "You've been watching me sleep again, haven't you?" "Across 17 dimensions," Dex admitted with a small smile. "You're beautiful in all of them." She opened one eye, regarding him with mock severity. "That's either incredibly romantic or incredibly creepy, and I haven't decided which." "Can't it be both?" Elara laughed, the sound cutting through the weight that had settled over him during the night. She sat up, running her fingers through her dark hair. "So, 46 hours. What's the plan?" Before Dex could answer, the communication system chimed again, more insistently. Admiral Strand's voice filled the room, formal and urgent. "Dex, Dr. Voss, I need you in conference room 7 immediately. We have a situation." Dex and Elara exchanged glances. "On our way," Dex replied, already swinging his legs out of bed. 20 minutes later, they arrived at the conference room to find Admiral Strand waiting with Garrett Cole and an unexpected visitor, war poet Kreshtal, the massive Thrin warrior who had declared Dex blood-honored during the inquiry. The alien stood nearly 3 meters tall, his scaled hide marked with ceremonial scars that glowed faintly in the station's artificial light. "Forgive the early summons," Strand said without preamble. "We've received intelligence that changes the timeline considerably." Kreshtal stepped forward, his voice a deep rumble that carried harmonics in frequencies Dex could perceive across multiple dimensions. 3 ships departed from the Korvathi system 4 hours ago. Their destination, the Lumineth homeworld. Their purpose, to petition the Council of Ascended Species for their own seeker candidate. Dex felt his stomach drop. "Representative Zhao." "Not just Zhao," Strand said grimly, pulling up a holographic display. 3 ships materialized in the air, sleek diplomatic vessels bearing the insignia of Earth Council, the Korvathi Confederacy, and the Vexian technocracy. "It seems your friend has been busy building a coalition. They're arguing that if humanity is to have representation on the Council, it should be chosen through proper democratic channels, not by unilateral selection." "He's making a power play," Elara said, her voice tight. "Using the inquiry's division to undermine the matriarch's offer." Garrett spoke up from where he leaned against the wall, his weathered face thoughtful. "Question is, does he actually want to be seeker, or does he just want to make sure you aren't?" Dex closed his eyes, reaching out across dimensions to touch the probability streams. He saw futures branching, Zhao arriving at the Lumineth homeworld, making his case before the Council, the matriarch forced to consider alternatives. In some streams, Zhao was genuinely convinced he would serve humanity better. In others, his motivations were darker, more complex. Fear of what Dex represented, ambition masked as duty, genuine belief that power should rest with those who understood political realities. "Both," Dex said quietly, opening his eyes. "He believes he's the right choice, and he's terrified of what I might become." Kreshtal's massive hand came to rest on Dex's shoulder, the weight significant but not crushing. "Then you must decide swiftly, pattern breaker. The Thrin have a saying, wisdom delayed is wisdom denied. The Council will not wait indefinitely while you wrestle with doubt." "How long do we have?" Dex asked Strand. The Admiral consulted his datapad. "The ships will reach the Lumineth homeworld in 38 hours. If Zhao makes his petition before you've given the matriarch your answer, the Council will be forced to deliberate between candidates. That could take weeks, months, and in that time, other factions will mobilize their own nominees. Turning the seeker position into a political appointment instead of what it's meant to be," Elara said, disgust evident in her voice. Dex moved to the window, looking out at the stars beyond Starbase 447. Somewhere out there, 11 precursor artifacts waited. Tests of consciousness that had destroyed civilizations, challenged the very nature of what it meant to be sentient. The matriarch had spoken of compassion and wisdom, sacrifice and connection, doubt and hope. Each artifact would demand something different, would strip away certainty, and force whoever found them to confront fundamental truths about existence. Could Representative Zhao face those tests and remain uncorrupted? The man who wanted to imprison Dex in a research facility, who saw power as something to be controlled and contained? "I need to speak with the matriarch," Dex said finally. "Now," Strand nodded. "She's waiting in the Lumineth diplomatic suite. I took the liberty of requesting her presence when we received the intelligence." The walk through the station felt surreal. Dex could see the probability streams converging, futures collapsing into singular moments of choice. Station personnel watched him pass with expressions ranging from awe to fear to resentment. 3 religious movements had started worshiping him as a prophet. 47 families still waited for answers about their lost loved ones. The galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what the maintenance worker who had destroyed ultimate power would do next. The Lumineth diplomatic suite occupied an entire section of the station's upper levels, its architecture somehow both solid and ethereal. Essence of Dawn Light, the matriarch, waited in a chamber that existed partially in dimensions most beings couldn't perceive. Her crystalline form shifted through colors that had no names in human language. "You have made your choice," she said, and it wasn't a question. Dex stepped forward, Elara at his side. "I have questions first. Ask. If I refuse and Zhao is chosen, what happens to the artifacts? To the tests?" The matriarch's light dimmed slightly. "The artifacts care nothing for politics or worthiness predetermined by committees. They simply are. Whoever finds them will face their tests, whether that person can pass them." She left the thought unfinished. "You said the crucibles showed civilizations what they truly were," Dex continued. "What do the other artifacts show?" "The crucible was a mirror of power and its corruption," the matriarch replied. "The compass of compassion shows you every consequence of your choices across all possible futures. Every joy you might create, every suffering you might cause. The lens of wisdom reveals all knowledge but demands you choose which truths to share and which to keep hidden. The altar of sacrifice requires you to give up something irreplaceable, something that defines who you are, with no guarantee of what you'll receive in return." She paused, her form pulsing with ancient sorrow. "The bridge of connection forces you to truly understand another consciousness, to experience their pain, their fear, their hopes, as if they were your own. The mirror of doubt shows you every mistake you've ever made, every path you didn't take, every person you failed. The well of hope offers visions of perfect futures that can never be, testing whether you can let them go and embrace imperfect reality." Dex felt Elara's hand tighten in his. Garrett had moved to stand behind them, a solid presence. Even Kreshtal had followed, the warrior's scaled face grave. "These aren't just tests," Dex said slowly, understanding, crystallizing across dimensions. "They're lessons. The precursors were trying to teach something." "They were trying to teach themselves," the matriarch corrected gently. "The 12 artifacts were built in the final years before transcendence, when the precursors realized they were losing something essential. They hoped that by creating these tests, by forcing future civilizations to confront the fundamental aspects of consciousness, someone might discover what they had lost and show them the way back. But 17 civilizations failed the crucible alone," Elara said. "How many more failed the others?" "None," the matriarch said, and the word hung in the air like a death knell. "No civilization has ever found more than one artifact. The crucible was always discovered first because it called loudest to those who craved power. And when they failed its test, they were destroyed before they could seek the others." Dex felt the weight of that revelation settle over him. So humanity finding the crucible first was actually fortune, Kreshtal rumbled, or fate. The Thryn do not believe in coincidence on such a scale. "The Council has waited 3 million years, the matriarch continued, her voice carrying harmonics of infinite patience and infinite sorrow. "Waited for someone to pass the first test. waited for someone who could refuse ultimate power and still choose to seek the wisdom beyond it. You are the first, Dex Holloway, the first who might complete the journey the precursors designed. Or I could fail, Dex said quietly. I could face the compass of compassion and be paralyzed by all the suffering my choices might cause. I could stand before the altar of sacrifice and refuse to give up what defines me. I could look into the mirror of doubt and be destroyed by my own mistakes. Yes, the matriarch agreed simply. You could fail any of them. The tests were designed to be passable but not easy, to challenge but not guarantee destruction. The precursors hoped that whoever completed all 12 would understand consciousness itself, would grasp the wisdom they lost when they transcended. Garrett stepped forward, his voice rough with emotion. Kid, I told you yesterday that fear means you're still human. But there's a difference between fear that protects you and fear that paralyzes you. Which one is this? Dex turned to his old mentor, seeing the man across 17 dimensions. The probability streams that had led Garrett to this moment, the choices that had shaped him, the wisdom earned through decades of watching and listening. What would you do? I'd remember that you already passed the hardest test, Garrett said. You stood in front of ultimate power and said no. Everything else is just details. Noble words, Kreshtal said, his tone respectful but challenging. But the Thrinn know that battles are won in details. The pattern breaker must understand what he accepts. This is not glory or honor. This is years of his life, perhaps decades, searching distant stars for artifacts that may kill him. This is facing tests that will strip away everything he believes about himself. This is becoming something other than what he is. I'm already something other than what I was, Dex said, meeting the warrior's 4 eyes. The moment I touched the crucible, the moment I chose to perceive 17 dimensions, I changed. The question isn't whether I'll be transformed. It's whether that transformation will mean something. He turned back to the matriarch, feeling Elara's presence beside him, Garrett's solid support behind him, Strand's strategic mind calculating probabilities, Kreshtal's warrior wisdom weighing honor and duty. All these connections, all these relationships that the precursors had lost when they transcended into isolated perfection. If I accept, Dex said carefully, I need guarantees. Not for my safety. I know the artifacts are dangerous, but for the people who come with me, Elara, and anyone else who chooses this path. They need protection from political retaliation, from factions that would use them as leverage against me. The Council will provide such protection, the matriarch assured him. Any who accompany the Seeker are under Council authority beyond the reach of planetary governments or the Galactic Assembly. And if I die, if an artifact kills me before I complete the journey, then another Seeker will be chosen, perhaps Representative Zhao, perhaps someone else entirely. The artifacts will wait, as they have waited for 3 million years. Dex closed his eyes, reaching out across probability streams to see the futures that branched from this moment. He saw himself accepting, saw years of travel through distant systems, ancient ruins on forgotten worlds, tests that would challenge everything he believed. He saw himself refusing, saw Zhao standing before the compass of compassion, saw the man's certainty crack when confronted with infinite consequence, saw the corruption that followed. But he also saw other streams where Zhao succeeded, where the man's rigid discipline and political acumen proved to be exactly what the tests required. Saw futures where Dex's doubt became paralysis, where his fear of corruption led to failure. No certainty, no guarantees, just choice and consequence, rippling across dimensions. I need one more thing, Dex said, opening his eyes. Time. Not to decide whether to accept, I've already decided that, but time to prepare, to say goodbye to the life I had, to make sure the people who depend on me understand what I'm choosing and why. The matriarch's light pulsed with something that might have been approval. Zhao's ships will arrive in 38 hours. Can you be ready by then? I can be ready in 24, Dex said, feeling the weight of the decision settle into his bones. But I want to announce it publicly first, at the inquiry, when it reconvenes. Let the galaxy see me make this choice freely, not as a political maneuver, but as a conscious decision. The inquiry reconvenes in 47 hours, Strand said, after Zhao reaches the Lumineth homeworld. Then we move the inquiry up, Dex said, turning to the Admiral. You have the authority. Reconvene in 24 hours. Cite urgent diplomatic circumstances. Let me tell the galaxy what I'm choosing before Zhao tries to make it about politics and power. Strand studied him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. I can do that, but you'll need to be ready for the fallout. Representative Zhao won't take this well. Neither will the factions that want you controlled or eliminated. Let them be angry, Dex said, feeling certainty crystallize across dimensions. Let them see that I'm not asking permission or seeking approval. I'm accepting responsibility because someone has to, and I'm the one who passed the test. Kreshtal's deep laugh rumbled through the chamber. Now you speak like a warrior, pattern breaker. The Thryn will stand witness to your declaration. Let any who would challenge your choice face Thryn blade justice first. The matriarch's form brightened, colors shifting through spectrums that spoke of hope and ancient purpose. Then it is decided. In 24 hours, you will announce your acceptance before the Galactic Assembly. The Council will formally recognize you as Seeker, and your journey will begin. Our journey, Elara corrected firmly, her hand still in Dex's. I'm not letting you face ancient consciousness-destroying artifacts alone. Dex pulled her close, feeling her warmth against the quantum cold of 17-dimensional perception. No lone hero sacrifices, he murmured into her hair. Damn right, she replied. As they left the Lumineth diplomatic suite, Dex felt the probability streams shifting, futures realigning around the choice he'd made. Somewhere across the galaxy, Representative Zhao was traveling toward the Lumineth homeworld, convinced he was doing the right thing. Somewhere else, 11 precursor artifacts waited in ancient ruins and forgotten systems, ready to test whoever found them. And here on Starbase 447, a former maintenance worker who could see across 17 dimensions walked hand in hand with the woman he loved, preparing to announce a decision that would reshape his life and possibly the future of conscious existence itself. 24 hours, Garrett said as they walked. What's first on the agenda? Dex thought about the 47 families waiting for answers, about Sarah Chen's grief, about the 3 religious movements that had started worshipping him. He thought about the inquiry panel and their divided opinions, about the station's population, half celebrating him, half fearing him. First, Dex said, I'm going to have breakfast with my friends. Then I'm going to meet with Sarah Chen and anyone else who needs to hear the truth about what happened. Then I'm going to spend the afternoon with Elara, just being human for a few more hours. And then? Elara asked. Dex smiled, feeling the weight of destiny and the lightness of choice balancing perfectly. And then I'm going to stand before the galaxy and tell them I'm ready to seek wisdom across the stars. One artifact at a time. One test at a time. One choice at a time. That's all any of us can do, Garrett said quietly. They walked together through the station's corridors, a maintenance worker who had become something more, a xenolinguist who had chosen love over safety, a veteran janitor who had taught wisdom through example, and an admiral who had gambled everything on trusting the right person. Behind them, war poet Kreshtal followed, his massive form a silent promise of protection. Ahead, the future waited, uncertain, dangerous, full of tests that would challenge everything Dex believed about consciousness and existence. But for now, in this moment, he was simply a man walking with friends, preparing to face whatever came next. One choice at a time. It would have to be enough.
Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures. Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures.